Columbia Network, by arrangement with the producers, is happy to present scenes from the Broadway show At Home Abroad. Your master of ceremonies is Howard Dietz, author of such hits as Three's a Crowd, The First Little Show, The Bandwagon, and the present hit now playing at the Winter Garden, New York, At Home Abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, children, household pets, and all victims of the radio habit, this is Howard Dietz, who will introduce At Home Abroad in capsule form. Composed by Arthur Schwartz, the Sullivan at his time, and presented by the Messrs. Schubert, our musical holiday might well be called a Schubert and Sullivan operetta. At Home Abroad glories in such talent as Beatrice Lillie, who needs no introduction to the air-minded, Ethel Waters, Herb Williams, the melancholy zany, Eleanor Powell, the now famous Broadway melody girl, Reginald Gardiner, Paul Haycon, Vera Allen, Jack McCauley, the Spirits of Rhythm, Woods Miller and the Continentals, and Charles Drury and his orchestra. There will be no applause in the studio tonight, you will be pleased to hear. It was a special request of the artists, who are accustomed to audience response and wish to have a holiday tonight. At Home Abroad has a sort of a plot. Mr. Otis T. Hattrick, played by Herb Williams, is having an old-fashioned nightmare.
Romance is falling, answer the call. Awake, get on the train or transport. Awake from home. Get away, go to a train or transport. Awake from home. Awake from home. Hurry up,
Otis Hattrick cannot stand it any longer. He is now convinced that he should get away from it all. He leaps from his bed, packs and dresses. The bed turns round and becomes a pile of luggage. Otis and Henrietta, his wife, are going up the gangplank in that frenzy of excitement so dear to the hearts of all big trippers. If we listen, we can hear Otis and Henrietta above the battle.
Hurry, Otis. We'll miss the boat.
Oh, tell the boat to wait. Or gee whiz, they'll miss us. They'll be in a fine fix if I left Gus behind. The passenger list would be all wrong, and the cook would be sore because he's figured on 2 more people.
Think of it, Otis. We're off on a trip around the world, like Magellan or Jules Verne or Paul Weissman.
Why don't we just take a trip around Paul Weissman?
And the curtain now parts on a typical London department store where the customer is always wrong. There is a bustle of passing shoppers, but one most of all attracts our attention. With her arms full of little bundles, it is none other than the darling of the gops, Beatrice Lillie, who is tapping her foot impatiently for service.
Oh, dear. Shop? Clerk? Clerk?
Good morning, madam.
Oh, good morning. Will you kindly attend to me?
Most certainly, madam. Is there something I can do for you?
Well, I wonder if you could tell me if my order has gone off yet.
But not knowing what your order is, madam, I really couldn't say.
But I telephoned to you today.
What name, madam?
Mrs. Blogden Blagg.
Mrs. Blagden Blogg.
No, Mrs. Blogden Blagg.
I said Blagden Blogg, madam.
No, you didn't. You said Blagden Blogg, but it's really Blogden Blagg. Floggett Blagg. Blagg. Well, it makes quite a nice thing of it. Don't you think?
Yes, I understand, madam. Mrs. Blogden Blogg. Now, have you an address?
Do I look as if I live in the open air? I gave a large order for 2 dozen double damask dinner napkins to be sent here to Mrs. Blogden Blagg, Twickenham.
Yes, I remember perfectly now, madam. What exactly was it that you ordered?
Really? 2 dozen double damask dinner napkins?
I'm sorry, madam, I didn't quite catch.
Dinner napkins, man. Dinner napkins.
Oh, yes, certainly, madam. One moment, please. Plain?
No, not plain at all. Double damask.
Would you mind repeating the order once more, madam? I'm not quite sure what it is.
No, I don't mind at all. Now, listen carefully. I want 2 dozen salmon damask. Oh, dear. Excuse me, please. I want 2 dozen double Zizek Dana Nipkins.
Dana Nipkin?
Yes.
Dana Nipkin?
Yes?
You mean dinner napkins?
That's what I said.
Sorry, madam. You said Dinner Napkin.
Yeah, but that is ridiculous. I said dinner napkins and I meant mannered infants. Nicky Dankins. Oh, dear, I wish you wouldn't confuse me.
I'm sorry, madam. What you really want is Dinner Napkin.
Yes.
Yes. Now, how many exactly would you want, madam?
2 dozen.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, madam. I can't.
Oh, really, I'll tell you, Dad. Now, try hard. Listen, I want 2 dozen Damask Dinner Napkins.
Yes, madam, but you don't mean 2 dozen. You mean 2 dozen.
I said 2 dozen.
Yes.
Well, you must be double digits.
I'm sorry, madam. I'm afraid we haven't got anything like that in stock.
Oh, really? Well, you advertise. Well, of all the fools. Can't I find anyone with a modicum, just a modicum of intelligence in the store?
Certainly, madam. I'll get our Mr. Martingale.
I wish you would.
Oh, Mr. Martingale? Well, this is our Mr. Martingale. Mr. Martingale, this is Mrs.
Logden Blagg.
Now what can I do for you, Mrs. Blogg?
Blagg?
Blagg? I don't understand. That is the lady's name, sir. Oh, I see. How stupid of me. Can I be of service, Mrs. Blogg?
Well, I'm sorry to say it, but your assistant here doesn't appear to speak English. I'm giving an order, but it might just as well be in Greek for all he understands.
Strange you should say that. Mr. Stanfield speaks Greek perfectly.
Go on! Speak of it, Mr. Stanfield.
Certainly, madam. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta.
I don't like it.
No matter. Allow me to help you. You require...
Oh, yes, of course. I want 2 dozen jam and double different diapers.
I beg your pardon.
I want 2 dozen.
2 dozen.
I said 2 dozen.
No, madam, you said dozen. But I understand what you mean. 2 dozen. In other words, a double dozen.
Oh, kill you. That's right. A double dozen of dizzy knickers.
I beg your pardon, madam. You mean a double dozen of double damask dinner napkins.
Well?
No, double damask. I said double damask. Oh, well. It's dinner napkins you require, madam.
What's a sort of...
No dapper napkins.
No, Nicky Dankins.
Well, madam, I'm afraid I don't quite
For
understand.
goodness sake, well, get somebody here who does.
Well, perhaps I can be of some help. This is our Mr. Coldwater, madam. How do you do?
How do I do what? Now then, Mr. Goldwater, do please send me 2 dribble dam and Dublin dippy diapers.
I beg your pardon?
I want 2 dribble dam and Dublin.
Damask dinner napkin. 2 drizzles.
Well, it isn't quite clear. If I may say so, we get confused splitting it up. Now, the full order is...
2
drizzles, Dawson's and Dankin nippers.
That's right, only dribble grimace.
Grimace. Don't you mean double
No,
damask?
madam. I remember that.
I'll take it all there. Gentlemen, let's call the whole lot. Thank you, Colonel.
I see. I've been demoted. I used to be a major. And now with that trick of ground covering, not even possessed by the Lindberghs, we are in the West Indies. The natives are loading the boat Panama Lady with articles of trade, and Miss Ethel Waters is waving a tearful farewell to her dusky sweetheart.
Rum and tobacco in the cargo is loading time. Ginger and spices in the cargo is loading time. Mangoes and pawpaws are in the cargo to faraway places with no embargo. Cocoa and coffee in the cargo is loading time. The Panama Lady leaves the island of Jamaica, cruising in the waters of the Caribbean. The Panama Lady, it's getting out time. Rum and tobacco in the cargo is loading time. Ginger and spices in the cargo, it's loading time. Mangoes and
is blowing. They're getting set for a ride. No need for tugging or towing. They're going out with the tide. There'll be a chugging and turning. There'll be a heaving away. The paddle wheels will be turning. Now I'm burning for the bay. I'll miss you, honey. I'll miss you, honey. You know wherever you're faring, there'll be a raring homecoming day. Come kiss me, honey. Come kiss me, honey. Although you're ready for starting, let's make this party. Yeah, that steamboat whistle is blowing. They're getting set for a ride. No need for tugging or towing. They're going out with the tide. Folks are shouting and raving. Band started to play. I get my handkerchief waving. Start behaving like I say. I'll miss you, honey. So wherever you're bearing, there is a homecoming day. Come kiss me, honey. Come kiss me, honey. You drive me wild. Although you're ready for starting, let's make the party.
Thank you, Ethel. You make the Indies attractive and in the right season. Crowding my elbow is Reginald Gardiner, the dapper, the suave. He has a mad speech all prepared to whisper in the ear of the microphone, and I might comment that the microphone has listened to few more entertaining people. That is our tribute to the mother country. Reggie, take the wireless. Thank you, Graham. Howard. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a certain amount of talk in the show about getting away from it all. That, of course, is a lot of nonsense, really. You can't get away from anything. You can't get away from yourself. You can't get away from your friends. And most importantly, you can't get away from objects all around you. Now, if you're lying in bed ill, recovering from the night before, and you look around your bedroom, you'll notice all kinds of objects that you've lived with all your life, but just because you're ill, they all assume terrifying and jeering shapes. For instance, you've probably got a flowered border around the top of your wallpaper, which goes like this. And so forth all round the wall. Well, after you've gazed at that for about an hour, you suddenly find one bit that goes and you don't know why. Then, of course, you find your furniture does very much the same thing. All your tables and chairs and everything you've got in your room leer at you in the most horrifying fashion, and they all become very much alive. Now, the most alive thing I've ever seen is a railway engine. Not only is it alive, but it is livid, furious. It loathes humanity. And the only man who isn't afraid of it, I can't think why, is the engineer, who, when he gets the signal to go, turns round, catches hold of a lever, pulls it down, and this livid beast is unleashed. Like this. And so forth on its journey. Well, now that we've unleashed this livid thing, we find it still equally furious, and it has a colossal argument with the rails it's running on. Like this, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-up, fiddle-it-dee, fiddle-it-dee, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-dee, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-dee, fiddle-it. That goes on the entire journey. And not only does it have a colossal argument with the rails it's running on, but also all the other rails when they dare to cross its own. Like this, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-up, fiddle-it-dee, fiddle-it-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-off, fiddle-it-off, fiddle-it-dee, and so on. You needn't really worry about me a great deal. The whole of my family died in the lunatic asylum. Well, now, I'm not a much-traveled man, but I'm told this goes on all over the world in all the different railways. For instance, in France, exactly the same thing takes place, and the language is different. All and all, song and all, fiddle-a-dee, fiddle and all, song and all, bell and egg, it's all very much the same thing. And the first time I ever went to France, I got my first glimpse of a French engine, and I was very much impressed because it seemed to me to be 4 times as big and 8 times as livid as any engine I'd ever seen before. And as I was walking across the rails to get to the platform from which I had to catch my train, I cowered away from one of these enormous beasts, and suddenly, to my amazement, it let out an extraordinarily effeminate voice. It seemed to me to be so enormously masculine, and yet as it started on its journey for Paris, all it managed to summon up was... Well, of course, I may be wrong about that, but it really does seem to me to be a little peculiar. Well, just before I end this, I'd like to tell you the one thing that an engine loathes more than anything else, and that is another engine coming in the opposite direction. That it cannot bear. And by this time, you've probably settled down quite calmly, having got used to diddle-a-dot, diddle-a-diddy, and all the other maddening noises, when suddenly, to your horror, this new thing bursts upon you and nearly knocks you on the carriage floor. It's the most frightening thing in the world, and it goes like this. Diddle-a-dot, diddle-a-dot, fiddle-a-dee, diddle-a-dot, yeah, huddle-a-dot, 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 fiddle-a-dee, diddle-a-dot, but it's very silly, don't bother about it, just leave it.
Thank you, Reggie. I was going to say that practically paid the English debt till you called me Graham.
Over the Moulin Rouge in Paris sits a figure representing the spirit of high life on the boulevard. Miss Beatrice Lillie gives us a slightly expurgated version of Paree.
Paree, he's like a lover. Paree, he's like a friend. When you visit Paris, you'll discover he's your jolly friend. I was born in Princeton, Rhode Island, but La France, maintenant, is my land. Oh, j'adore Paris. You have beaucoup that appeal to me. Oh, soupçon of sad, oh, soupçon of glad, the young soupçon, not bad, in Paris, comme ci, comme ça, comme ça, comme ci. That's how I feel when I'm in Paris. Your right bank, your left bank, are part of my heart. Oh, Paris, yeah, Paris, yeah, Paris, more Paris. I love everything about Paris. I love everyone, and everyone loves me. Les garçons, les gendarmes, les gamins, les misérables, tout le monde. Sometimes Paris is nothing like the babbling brook, n'est-ce pas? And sometimes he is cruel. Ah, but when you are in love in the spring, then Paris is glorieuse. Et comment? April in Paris, May in the Montmartre, June in January. Me, moi, when I am in Paris, I am how you say it, happy. Avec mon homme, I go to the bois. I dine at the foyer. I am if it is not so content. Et comment? L'amour. Toujours l'amour. C'est Paree. Toujours l'amour. L'amour, le meilleur. Oh, you can have your New York with its rush, rush, rush. Your London with its tea and men's shirts. Give me Paris. I love Paris. I could kiss the Champs-Élysées, kiss the Rue de la Paix, kiss the Saint-Honoré, kiss the Montmartre, kiss your right hand, your left hand, all part of my heart. Oh,
The next item brings together Ethel Waters and Eleanor Powell. This number would have gone on much sooner in our program, but Miss Powell just arrived in the studio. Come here, Eleanor.
Yes, teacher.
What made you so late?
Sorry, I was trucking.
You were what?
Trucking. Don't you truck?
You mean that new dance?
They call it new, but I've been trucking ever since I was 2 years old.
That was last year.
Oh, no. That was 3 years ago. I'm 5 now.
You want me to put you across my knees?
Oh, please do. I'd love it.
Then first snap into your character and do that number with Ethel. Remember, you're at your dressing table and she's undoing you. After she sings, you can truck or go to town or get hot or get cold or get any way you feel. We've got a dancing board and an invisible audience here, so make the tops clean, honey, because they can only hear and not see. You all ready, Ethel?
My fingers are as fidgety, I'm as nervous as can be. Why should you be nervous? Never saw you act so fidgety before. Just as soon as I get to dressing, you all have to stop dressing me. Gonna receive a courting cent. I'm laying on the line, courting cent. Never knew you had a steady bow. Well, I never knew until he told me so. Is he smart? Tell him, knock him dead. Telephone me and said I got a brand new suit. Got a brand new tie. Got a brand new twinkle in my eye. Do you know the reason why? Got a brand new girl meaning me. And I want this. I'm the reason why. Got a brand new tie and a brand new shoe. When he's with me, got to look his best. Puts on his hands to his great fast. Does the best that's gonna wear up with him. It's Echelopper with the brand new tie. See, girl, crazy about what's in that brand new shoe and that brand new tie with glitter in his eye. Do you know the reason why? Got a brand new girl I won't dispute. I'm the reason why he knocked that tie and that brand new shoe. When he's with me, got to get that. Put on pants, shoes, sleeve flat. Some of the best fit dress gonna wear a stand and it's a test pal with tie. Go on and get it, Eleanor.
All right, Eleanor, now your turn. Now, love is a dancing thing.
Love
is the Mayday. I live the heyday of it. Love is the dancing thing. It's dancing my life not away. When this entrancing thing came like a string song, I heard the sing song of it. Love is a dancing thing. Romancing my life heart away. Heavenly dawn and heavenly dark, days unto all time, and night is like a nocturne, is soon with all creation. Lyrical earth and musical stars, make to make my dream on. To think I could capture this wonderful love is a dancing thing, gay as a Mayday. I'm in the heyday of it. Love is a dancing thing. It's dancing my life heart away. When this entrancing thing came like a string song, I heard the sing song of it. Love is a dancing thing. Romancing my life heart away. Good night, patient listeners, and thank you. If you wish to see At Home Abroad, it is at the Winter Garden, New York. If you like it, send a chain letter to your friends, if any. Matinees, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Bring your own candy, as it is not sold in the aisles. Good night. The Columbia Network, by arrangement of the producers, was happy to bring you this feature program, At Home Abroad. Your master of ceremonies was Howard Dietz. The orchestra was conducted by Charles Drury. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
We want to remind you